Next community member. Okay. So, Mr. Clark and I will now start the second presentation. This is something that we do annually. We're going to recap what the program's accomplished in 2015, and then we're going to slide right into what we hope to do in 2016. And that will be both Dave and I talking about this, and then we'll take questions and comments. Okay, so here we are. Mr. Clark, do we have a little laser for you?
I have a laser pointer.
Okay.
I
So
have laser.
Pardon?
I have laser karaoke. There we go.
Okay. You okay?
Could you linger with your laser because it's kind of hard to catch it. You move it really fast. So please linger with the laser.
I understand. So,
Laser.
Mr. Clark, if you could linger with your laser.
Not a problem.
Thank you.
Nice alliteration.
I'll make it.
Okay. So let me kick this off. Are we ready to go?
We're ready to go.
All right. Next slide. Okay. So first of all, we're going to look at what has occurred in 2015. We're going to go over the CERCLA sites. CERCLA is the program that we do most of our environmental cleanup work under. It's a set of rules and law that we follow, and a process that you're familiar with because our documents that have these names attached to them, they come from the CERCLA law. And then we're going to go over some of our accomplishments. There's two types of accomplishments on a Navy program. The first is, as you know, the Navy generates a lot of ink and paper, right? Because we create a lot of documents, which some of our members do a great job of reading and providing comments on. And then we also do field work. The field work's the actual part of the cleanup, right? So we have two different things that we work on. We do radiological surveys that has to do with our robust radiological program that you're familiar with. And we're going to show some fieldwork photos and then an update on the transfer. As you already know, we transferred a large chunk of Yerba Buena Island and Treasure Island this year. And there are more transfers to follow, but there's things the Navy must do before we're ready to transfer more. Next slide. Okay, so this is just a general overview. There are 13 sites that under CERCLA have been closed. A site is closed when you have a decision document telling you how to do the cleanup, and then you go out and do the cleanup, and then you document that cleanup with a completion report, and then you get regulatory approval, and then you can close out the site or continue to do some long-term monitoring to make sure that what you did is still effective. So we have 13 sites that fall in that category. We have 8 open sites on Treasure Island. Now Treasure Island is, in my experience, a fairly mature environmental program, and this is good evidence of it. 7 out of the 8 have already reached the record of decision phase, and Rab members and community members have followed us on some of these. You can see that 6, 21, 24, 27, 30, 31, and most recently 32 have reached the record of decision phase. This was our latest document to go out. Site 12 is where the residences are, right? The 594 residences. That's also a CERCLA site. And it is in the proposed plan stage. It's in the proposed plan stage because we're preparing for it. You haven't seen that yet, but in 2016 we're going to have a big community meeting for the proposed plan that has to deal with Site 12. And there are 3 open CERCLA sites on Yerba Buena Island, these 3 sites, and they're all located on Caltrans property. This is slightly before I came on board. But what Caltrans, right, California Department of Transportation did is they basically took big chunks of Yerba Buena Island in order to serve their project, which was the new Oakland Bay Bridge. Okay, next slide. So here's some key accomplishments, and Dave, if you could recite, and this is on the document side, not the fieldwork side. So Site 12, we did the residential scan summary report. If you remember, we went in last summer, and it took until early February in 2015 before we put the whole, finalized the summary report for that. On Site 21 is down in the southern part of the island there, just to the east of Clipper Cove and the marina. We had a completion report in February, which means, once again, we went out, we cleaned up, we demonstrated that the cleanup was successful, and then we filed a completion report with the regulators and the Rab. And that was in February. Site 24 is our major groundwater site. And in March, if you remember, we had a proposed plan meeting, and a number of you in the audience and on the board were there for that. Site 12, we did a feasibility study addendum in June. That was, 2 presentations were dedicated to that by Bryce Bartelma. Bryce, remember, one of our project managers, where he gathered a lot more data. He gathered data in the burn pit area that has been mentioned, and in a lot of other areas, and then he presented that data. And what that demonstrated is we have a very good handle on the depth and the lateral extent of those areas, mostly because of the data gaps investigation we did, and that was documented in this feasibility study addendum. Then the other thing on Site 12 that we released a couple months ago was the action memorandum for the arsenic TPH plume, if you could kind of narrow it in there. And we've been working with the regulators on this, particularly Miriam. I mean, it's a groundwater site of a very old petroleum spill that has liberated some of the naturally occurring arsenic in the soil into the groundwater in a concentration that causes concern. And so our action memo lays out part of the plan of what we want to do about that next year in 2016. And then Site 12, Bigelow Court, right? We had a summary, a post-construction summary report. That's a lot like a completion report, only for a smaller area than a whole site because it's only for Bigelow Court. And that documented all the work that Tony Conson had done and reported on in Bigelow Court. And we believe all the Bigelow Court work is done now. The documents with the regulators, and we're working with the state of California, and we're hoping to get free release of that area from the state of California in the next couple of months, hopefully. And then on Site 31, if you can, Site 31 there, we had a completion report in November, which indicated, again, we file a completion report when the cleanup is complete. This is the cleanup that the Navy, for a while, did major excavations, right, across the street from the daycare center, right? In fact, had to tear up one whole intersection. That's all been put back together, and we filed the completion report there. And then we did an updated final site management plan. Basically, a final site management plan, you can find this at Building 1 in the information repository. If any of you want to go and have a look at it, it's basically the calendar. It has 2 parts to it. The first part tells you a little background on each of our sites and the history of the program. The second part, which is particularly valuable to folks like Dave and I, who consult it every week at work, is this is our calendar of what we have to do, we lay out. And you can literally go in there for any site and see, document by document, and number of days allotted to field work for every project we have. And we work very closely on that, and we just finalized that late last month. And then Site 24, what Miriam Zeck from the Water Board was referring to, this is the record of decision on Site 24, our groundwater site there. That's been signed by the regulators just days ago. Okay, next slide.
Those two